Welcome to another episode of CrossDoc. This video marks a return to one of our most idyllic race venues, Verdugo Park in Glendale. This is the 12th edition where racers burn off their turkey and stuffing the Sunday after Thanksgiving. This race really broke down into different phases, and I'll talk about each phase in this video. Phase 1 is the start. Work as hard as you need to in order to have a good position going into the first tricky section. This season I had been starting fast, but I had been fading fast too. This race I got the whole shot again, but I try not to burn all my matches at the beginning. Griffith bridges up, and it's nice to have someone else take the lead. Phase 2 after the start are when things start to settle down. Everyone is still working hard, but now riders are trying to get gaps established. Griffith and I are trading turns off the front in order to put distance between us and the chasers. Where the goal of Phase 1 is to get as far out in front as possible, the goals of Phase 2 are to try and probe your competition. Look for little spots to move up and make time on others, just like Vu does here. Even though Phase 2 is about settling into rhythm, you still want to preserve your position in the group. I opened the door on this off-camber corner, and now I find myself in 4th place. I'm worrying that the effort I used to get the whole shot is now coming back to bite me in the butt. But just like you always hear, smooth is fast. By remounting well after the run-up, I go back into the lead. I wanted to head into the downhill first, and I also want our group of 4 to push the pace a little to keep the pressure on the chasers. I separate myself from the lead group, but before I can feel too good about it, I see another rider's shadow creeping into view, a foreshadowing of things to come. As Kenton passes me, I glance back, and we have several seconds on the chasers. I realize that if I follow his wheel, this could be the winning move. This is still part of Phase 2, which is settling into your current group. Settling into your group also means trying to stay as smooth as possible over obstacles and through corners, so that you can maintain contact with the riders in front of you without having to expend too much energy. Once gaps are established, Phase 2 starts turning into Phase 3, which is now, how am I going to beat this guy? Kenton and I look for places to try and gain an advantage. He attempts to pass right after this run-up, but I'm able to maintain the lead. However, on the next run-up, he remounts and clips in that little bit quicker, and he takes the lead. Smooth is fast, remember? Sometimes a little gap is all you need. The whole race I kept struggling on that off-camber corner, and now the gap opens up a little bit more. Before I know it, I'm all by myself again. It's the bell lap, last lap, Lazza Ronda. Since this is the last lap, I start adjusting my mindset into the last phase of the race, which is the give it everything you have phase. Since this is the last lap, there's no point in finishing the race with any extra energy. I start passing lapped riders and people who started in front of us, a skill I later realize will come in handy. By keeping my head down and just giving it everything I had, well, what do you know? I start to see Kenton again. There he is at the top of the run-up. At this point, this is where that last lap mentality really comes into play. If you can see them, you can catch them. That's what I kept telling myself, and I was giving it everything I had. The Jaws theme is playing in my head, and I'm hunting them down. I alluded to the skill of passing lapped riders. Kenton has to plan his pass safely, which slows him down. Maybe it's a little bit unfair, but I end up having to safely navigate around too. I finally make contact at the barriers. With only a few hundred meters left in the race, I decide to gamble on winning out in the sprint. In hindsight, the first person out of that last corner probably has the advantage, and I should have tried to get to the front, but hindsight's 20/20, right? Because I was planning to sprint, I wanted to keep as much momentum as possible going into the final. I really focused on taking clean lines, trying to stay as close to Kenton as possible, and saving my energy. And here's the sprint developing. For all you sprinters out there, rule number 1, know the finish. Because this finish curves slightly to the left, I should have tried to pass on the left to take the shortest line. Instead, I jump on the right, and Kenton and I keep our positions over the line. I got beat by a bike length. I was happy with second place, and I was happy that I was able to battle back to at least have a chance at the win. I was also satisfied with my ability to break up the race into manageable phases and to do productive things in each phase. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and I hope to see you out at the races.